Right, so it's time for Q&A number 103. Next week will be the hour Q&A, so definitely look forward to that one as we celebrate our 2-year anniversary doing Q&As every single week on YouTube. Thanks to you guys out there. We're going to go straight into this Q&A though with Mr. TNA 2005. Asked us a couple of questions. Who was the better diva, Lita or Trish? I would have to say personally Trish, because I think she just had a little bit more to her in the sense that I don't know. I know you probably say Lita, won't you?
I'm going to say that Trish definitely was the sometimes you could say most favourable for different reasons, but Lita, the fact she went through different names and she got to a higher place in her career, being with Edge and that, and put up performance as well. I'd say Lita by far.
I'd say Trish Stratus. It was very close. They're both very good divas, but I'd say just Trish Stratus. I don't know why. It's my opinion. What is your opinion on the best women feud going with a great storyline in the pay-per-view and having at least a great match? For me, it was Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong. I would say it was Trish James. Yeah, at WrestleMania. Was it 22? I believe that was. Yeah, it was probably at WrestleMania. That was a great storyline. That really was the whole Mickey lesbian storyline was great.
I can't think much else. The only one I can think of a name, not a match, is Beth Phoenix before she went sour.
But yeah, like that fart I just did there, sour. In my opinion, Jay Bradley looks a lot like Barrett in his match with Cage. Look, in ring style, the lariat. It was like he was British. Yeah, I totally agree. I think he's got the same sort of size and look as Barrett. I must admit, he is kind of like TNA's version of Wade Barrett in a way, just not English. I don't think. What not used wrestler would you give the world title to? Probably like a Cody Rhodes on WWE, maybe in TNA. I'd say Matt Morgan. I mean, we talked about this. Is not being used, but he kind of is now. James Storm.
Matt Morgan, I'm saying yes. Before, if we went back before you asked this, or before he got used, Matt Morgan, WWE, if they kept it going, I wish I could say because of the big guy effect WWE have, and if they continue to push him, not everyone liked him. Mason Ryan.
Power Spy in 1 games. What match was better? Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 15, 17, or 19?
17.
For me, again, it was just that 2001 was the kind of time when I started watching wrestling, and that was and I was really into the products at the time. I'd have to say you're 17. There may be other differing opinions going out. 17 to me was the most sentimentally special.
Even though WrestleMania 17 was like one of the top WrestleManias, I could go with 15 for it being the start of this franchise of matches. So it was the match people have been waiting to see happen.
View Hall for hire. Out of these people, who would you hate to win the Money in the Bank briefcase? Heath Slater, Brad Maddox, Evan Bourne, or Santino Marella? Heath Slater. I'm sorry, Brad Maddox or Heath Slater. One of those two.
If we say Heath Slater, I'd say Brad. I'd say Brad because he can't wrestle, and Heath Slater because he shouldn't wrestle.
We'll just move on from that. Is WWE ruining their product by having SmackDown guys appear on Raw and doing Raw recaps on SmackDown? The Raw recaps on SmackDown get incredibly annoying, but if they didn't have SmackDown guys on their 3-hour show, the show would be very boring and full of more filler, which you'd probably hate.
The only thing I'd tweet that is if the SmackDown wrestlers were hyping up something match-wise or promo-wise for SmackDown, it would be better. So I'll say that could be a strong reason, yes.
The Extreme Wolfpack. Who has a better chance of being TNA's next breakout star, Kenny King or Magnus?
Kenny King.
I'd say Magnus, purely because Kenny King is in the X Division right now, and I think Magnus not being in the X Division means that TNA have more of a vision maybe towards the world title. But I see why you say Kenny King. You're thinking of the X Division, the old Destination X gimmick thing, aren't you?
I would say it was because of that, but they scrapped that. Not even a year later.
Well, we don't know what they're doing with it right now.
Well, it seems like it's
been scrapped.
Kenny King, I say Kenny King because I guess Magnus is not even doing anything, while Kenny King, at least he's floating around, so there's a chance he has a reason to go somewhere.
Who sucks more, Heath Slater or Garrett Bischoff?
Slater!
They both suck. That's all I care. 1427695. Where did you come up with that YouTube name, people? Which pay-per-view was better in your opinion? SummerSlam 2002 or WrestleMania 17? Tough one.
There we go. Sorted.
17. I love both of those pay-per-views. I can't pick between either one. I'd say 17. Sentimental value for me. Who is more likely to be world champion by the end of the year? Antonio Cesaro or Wade Barrett? Probably Wade Barrett, Because Antonio Cesaro right now doesn't really seem to be in the right place to be able to get a push to the main event. That's all I can say about that.
Again, if it weren't scripted, the fact that Money in the Bank is all about taking chances, having luck, it could be given to anyone just out of luck.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping Barrett.
I'm hoping Barrett too. I think he deserves it. I think WWE need to put him as a champion for goddamn, just do it. Do you think Justin Gabriel versus Wade Barrett for the IC title, if given the right bill, could be a show-stealing match? No. They failed so much of Justin Gabriel that it would just be a squash match. You couldn't make a competitive match out of this.
I think the reason this question, this was old question, but they have had a TV match when they came here to the UK, Sheffield and stuff. They did face off against each other, and people compliment on how Justin Gabriel performed. But to put it into a live TV thing, I don't think Gabriel's enough for that to happen.
Do you think WWE would give Y2J one last world title run? No, because he's not there with the company very long. He's got Fonzie tours, he's got other commitments, so he's not going to be there for very long. He's going to be there purely to lose and to put other people over, like a guy like Chris Jericho can do because he's a name.
I think with Chris Jericho, one, to bring him back up this losing streak. Number two, for him to be, let's say, if he beats Cena as a heel or he goes after the world heavyweight, for him to become champion gives Jericho fans a big moment. Someone who beats Chris Jericho, you beat Chris Jericho to champion. I think it'd be a great idea, but because of him not being WWE long term, I don't see it happening.
What is the worst WWE pay-per-view ever, in your opinion? It's either December to Dismember, Capital Punishment, or SummerSlam 2007. That was one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen in my life. Any of those? Prototype 400. If Brock Lesnar never left the WWE after WrestleMania 20, would he still be the face of the WWE, or would John Cena be elevated to that spot and take it from Brock anyway? Well, to be honest with you, I think Brock Lesnar would have been the face of the company for a while in the Ruthless Aggression era, but as soon as they went to the PG era, I think John Cena would have been the top guy because he represents PG more than Brock Lesnar.
Maybe if they kept Brock Lesnar, the PG era may not have came around because obviously they would have had the powerhouse of Brock Lesnar, then Batista and stuff. But I think Brock Lesnar would have secured a good spot.
Oh, definitely would have been a top guy, but I don't think he would have been the top guy because I think John Cena represents PG way better than Brock Lesnar would. Ruthless Aggression, Brock Lesnar is the top guy, in my opinion, but not PG. Should pro wrestling in general feature more international characters? Yes. Yes. They've got the Hispanics sorted now with Del Rio. They need to make Wade Barrett this British main event guy. They need to get a guy from Asia, anywhere from all around the world, so they can bring in more eyes to their product. If they get a couple of stars from Asia, there's like a couple of billion people in Asia that might want to watch WWE.
That's the thing. We've had names who have came, they failed, like Cardi failed, Jinder Mahal failed, Daivari, then that failed. So they've had people who could have gone somewhere, but again, I think it all depends on WWE's booking of people they're bringing in.
If WWE and TNA were to trade wrestlers, what would be the best trade to make? Right, I'm not going to go down the whole shit wrestler and good wrestler trade. I'm trying to think of a good trade here. I'd say like Bobby Roode, because I think he can fit into WWE quite well. And from WWE, I would take someone like Randy Orton and put them into TNA, because then that would give TNA the star power, and WWE would have another star they can build up that I think would fit the mold.
I think I'm just going to add to the Orton thing, with his wellness policy thing, I think, to be honest, giving him a reason to leave and him to go somewhere else so he's still in wrestling could be a safe bet.
WWE 6636. Which pay-per-view should John Cena versus Undertaker take place? SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or WrestleMania? WrestleMania 30. That's where I think this has to happen. It's just, the one thing Cena hasn't done is face taker. In my opinion, it has to happen at WrestleMania 30, which is going to be a landmark WrestleMania. Top guy from the current era versus The Street would be a fantastic match.
Even though I don't have any doubt that Taker will be facing Cena at WrestleMania, I'm liking the fact at this moment in time that Punk has something over Cena.
If at WrestleMania 30 we have Cena versus Undertaker, Rock versus Brock, and Stone Cold versus Punk, what order will the matches be in? Who will main event? Wow. I personally think Rock versus Brock would main event, because I think Rock and Brock are the two bigger draws in WWE right now. But Cena and Undertaker would be a big enough match to main event, in my opinion.
I think I'm going to go with more, not because of Cena's benefit, Taker's. The fact that Cena is expected to win matches, with it being Taker possibly ending, I think they're going to give you the shadow of the doubt that could this be the match. And plus, putting in the main event is going to add that. Why is Taker the main event? I'm going to put that.
Indeed, and if Taker's in the main event, it makes it more, you kind of wonder whether he would actually win the main event or lose the main event, because if it's not in the main event, you kind of think, Cena's, Undertaker's definitely going to win, so it would be more mysterious. What do you think are the most over and underrated WrestleManias? I don't think WrestleMania 19 gets enough credit as it should do. It had four really good matches and one good match in there.
We do name top WrestleManias. 19 does come up, but not by every fan. So 19, yes.
Overrated. As for overrated, a lot of people overrate WrestleMania 20, in my opinion. Great with Eddie and Benoit, but people say it's like a great WrestleMania, one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, but it's not. I'm sorry, I gave it like a B-. There was a lot of crap in there as well.
People won't agree with me, but I'm not really good at remembering numbers. The Donald Trump one, just because that particular match was being one of the highlights, I don't care.
Yeah, that's it. If you guys can think of any, let us know. You like WrestleMania 25 a lot, and I don't. That's an interesting little contrast. I would say that was I'd say you would overrate that. You'd probably say I would underrate it, though, wouldn't you?
Way to go, yes.
Yeah, and Ambrose Freak 95. In the olden days of wrestling, fans would cheer faces and boo heels. Now the business has changed, and you have faces being booed and heels being cheered, as well as mixed reactions. Does this drastically affect the business and the fans' ability to buy the characters? It does, but one thing WWE could do is maybe use that to their advantage. It's something that has never really been done properly before. I mean, remember Rock and Hogan, when that ended up being a great match.
I think it's quite disappointing because we know we've got the top base of the company, and every heel that goes up against that top base ends up losing. I think what we need, if they did it correctly, is if they kept that Batista and Cena thing going, because Batista wanted to prove that he can be up there with Cena and stuff, or CM Punk thing. They continued that, but Punk obviously he knows he's never going to pass Cena, so that is a feud that draws because of that reason.
The problem is that WWE right now won't push anyone beyond Cena for business reasons, and also you got a guy like CM Punk as a top babyface, and they just made him boring because they didn't make him CM Punk. They made him boring and bland like any other babyface, which is why people boo the babyfaces and cheer the heels. Not to mention the booking. So babyfaces get booked so strong sometimes it looks like the heel is the underdog, and people will cheer an underdog. If you could give a WWE Championship reign to one person that had never held the title, who would it be? Right now, I'd say Ryback. Do it.
Never held
the world title. Who would you give it to? Barrett?
I'd say, even though people would not say Barrett right now, but I think Barrett, following Nexus, I think he had a big opportunity to do it. So Barrett, yes.
So you say Barrett, I say Ryback. That's just my opinion. If you had to make a tag team of one current WWE wrestler and one current TNA superstar, who would it be? Interesting question. I think from WWE would take someone. I'm trying to think of like a really dominant tag team, like Matt Morgan from TNA, and like
Langs. I was about to say Langs, even though you have two top guys, but I was thinking WWE to save someone from going and Alex Riley versus with someone else that could be saved from TNA. Someone who
Alex Riley and Magnus
could be
do it. That would be a good tag team. What major differences would occur in WWE if John Cena hadn't won the WWE title at WrestleMania 21, as that was the defining moment of his WWE career? Probably that was when he won the belt for the first time from John Bradshaw Layfield or JBL. I think he would still be a top guy. I really do. I don't think that specific win there made him into a top guy, but I still think he would be a top guy today because, well, what happened to all the other wrestlers that went? John Cena is the only one that's left.
Well, he went up against a really strong heel at the time. JBL, I cannot fault that, so he beat the right person, but I think if he did not beat, I think something else would have came up that would have given him that push anyway.
To be honest, I think Batista would have been by far the biggest star. But then he left, so you were kind of left with Cena anyway. So there you go. That's how it works out. Dub XX100. Which superstars do you think will win this year's Money in the Bank? We're going to get asked this question a lot in the next couple of months. I feel. You said one of the Shield members in the last Q&A. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Cody Rhodes, Cesaro, probably not. Ryback, maybe. Damien Sandow, Fandango. They're all characters you can throw out there, even though. I think Fandango is the one that's been most built up to it.
I'm sticking with the Shield. Quick answer, couldn't go much detail in the last Q&A. The Shield eventually are going to need something that's going to make them non-stale, repetitive. So if one of them was to go into the main event scene by using Money in the Bank, still months away, it'll help them move along.
To be honest, they're in the main event anyway, and they could be. You could have Dean Ambrose as a top heel. So give him Money in the Bank. It would be an interesting way of going around it, giving the Money in the Bank to a group. That would be pretty good. CM Punk 9876. How racist is the WWE against black wrestlers? There are a lot of rumors that Vince McMahon is racist because I believe he is a Republican. But the fact that there haven't been many black stars in WWE, you've got to think to yourself, that maybe it's to do with the fact that Vince hasn't wanted to push black wrestlers as a top guy. It's like instead of Rock being the top guy, it was always Austin. I know he wasn't black, but that's just an example I'm using.
Mark Henry was one of the first times in a long time where we gave WWE credit. I think with this Langston and Ziggler thing, they could recreate a guy going up against a black guy going towards the main championship. But yes, it's been a while since they've done it long term.
Howard the Man, aka Howard Starr. If you could make a Divas Money in the Bank with some of the past Divas, who would you have win it? Stratus, Lita, Beth Phoenix, Mickie James, Michelle McCool. I'd probably have Lita win it just for the nostalgia pop.
Having ladder shit.
Thunder, this is a bit of a silly question, really, isn't it? Thunder Night 19. When Daniel Bryan and Kane split up, how would you book them, and should they feud with after a feud with each other?
I don't think they should break up because we complain that the tag team division keeps dying. The fact they're working well together now, they've gone past the tease of breaking up. I wouldn't break them up until the tag team division's built up better. But when you break them up, I think I've always loved Kane's a monster. Daniel Bryan gets face cheers, so that way I personally.
I kind of agree with you on the first part you said. I think that while the tag team division has so many tag teams, you kind of have to keep Daniel Bryan and Kane together because they're one of the best things in the tag team division, along with the possibility of the Shield being in there right now. After they do go separate, I think Daniel Bryan has to be a face or a tweener with his yes gimmick, and they need to play off that. And Kane could be a monster, but could you really have him as a monster after all this? I don't think you really can.
I think something could make him snap because we've had like the main IT. Don't bring that back, but just make him snap, go crazy, choke on everyone. I think you could recreate it.
GW Rocks 9. What do you think the WWE would do with Evan Bourne when he returns? Probably put him in a match of US champion, let him lose and bye. Bear in mind that Stephanie McMahon believes in him a lot and thinks he's such a good talent. They won't push Evan Bourne. There's no way. You might as well just be an X Division guy. Which WWE superstars would you like to see at TNA, and what TNA superstars would you like to see at WWE?
This question.
Wow, there are many. I would like to see from TNA Bobby Roode, James Storm go into WWE. I think I would love to see them in a WWE ring. As for WWE people in TNA,
Daniel Bryan, Orton.
Yeah, and
Daniel Bryan in the X Division stuff. And you have Orton, who, yes, he's a WWE classic that people love, but I think having him in there and doing his kind of stuff in TNA.
We'll go with that. If there was a WWE versus TNA 5-on-5 elimination tag team match, what superstars would you pick for each team? Okay, we've got to pick a strong team for WWE and a strong team for TNA. Let's go with WWE first. No part-timers, so no Undertaker, no Triple H or anything like that.
I'm going to try and avoid seeing to the end, so we'll go with like Orton, put him back up there, Sheamus, because obviously him being there.
Punk.
I want to say Barrett, but sadly,
no,
not right now.
John Cena. There's your 5. Easy.
Yeah, I guess that would.
TNA would be James Storm, Rude, Austin Aries, Bully Ray, and Matt Morgan. That's not a bad matchup, I think.
No,
that's pretty good. Yep, and that is the end of our Q&A here. We've finally gone under 20 minutes for the first time in what seems like years now. But make sure you tune in for the next Q&A, which will be Q&A number 104, where it will definitely be an hour. And hopefully a lot of your questions that you've been asking us will get answered in that one. And we're going to get a load of questions out of the way. It should be a time for us to celebrate. And we're definitely going to savour it in that hour, aren't we?
Oh, it is indeed. With 2 hours of doing this, we've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Anything we could do to make these more enjoyable, please let us know. But they're going to keep on coming if you keep asking us questions. From Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, I'm going to bring a monster next week. Until next time, YouTubers, thank you very much and goodbye.